Good evening, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing this evening? I'm going to send an invite to my guest here tonight. See how I can find them here. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope everybody's doing great. As for me, I just finished eating a wonderful supper that my darling wife cooked. Uh, I'm feeling a lot better than how I was feeling yesterday. Sometimes you have to vent and let out what's bothering you. Especially with the works that I do. The works that I do spiritually, brothers and sisters. I need to maintain a love. It's very important to maintain a love foundation daily, and sometimes you have to let out what you might be feeling within yourself. And that's not a victory to the enemy. I do it to vent, to let it out, because I rather let it out than keep it in within myself. I believe when you keep it in within yourself, it prevents you from maintaining your love foundation to its fullest. So when I vent and I say certain things, I'm saying it because, sometimes you do get tired of certain things happening in life. I'm just waiting for Brother Matt to join here. But you have to let things out a certain way, Trust me, when I fight spiritually, I've been fighting spiritually for a very long time. And you have to do things a certain way, because it's kind of like you're in the center. And it's dealing with the balance, with the spiritual balance of life. And there's the north, the south, and the east, and the west, right? And it's kind of like you're being watched from all directions just to see what you're going to do. Especially when these unseen forces know that what's within your heart. They know what God has in store for you, like what He wants you to do, what He expects out of you. So, of course, these unseen forces, they try to test your faith. That's what it's about. They try to test your faith to see what you're going to do. They're going to put you in certain situations where you get tested. Obstacle after obstacle. Just like, for example, prime example. What I've been going through this past month. I've been getting tested to see what I'm going to do. Like I said before, I always handle everything that I go through in life. I handle it with the love foundation. And that's what we have to do, is handle it with the love foundation. Don't give in to the enemy, because people, the unseen forces, they'll use people to come up against you. And there's people that they think they might be on the right path, but if they were to take the time to reflect on the wickedness that they do, right, the wicked things that they do, then they will know that they're really being utilized by a different force, in which when they say that they believe in God, well, it's not the God that's a forgiving God, right? Because of the things that they do. When you mock people, when you lie constantly, when you mock God by placing verses of God, and then you go out and do the opposite, start mocking people, making fun of them, playing games, then you're not that person that you say you are. You're not that the man of God. You're just infiltrating to deceive the people. You become a deceiver, because you're deceiving the people but pretend to be a person of God, in which you're not doing those works. I do the works of the Heavenly Father. As a matter of fact, on Monday, in spite of everything that's going on, I did some spiritual works. I did a cleansing. I cleansed the home. I cleansed the person. And I got rid of some negative, unclean spirits from within a home. This happened Monday. This individual couldn't get no rest. But now, after I did all this cleansing and the spiritual works with the Love Foundation, remember all the things that I've been going through and targeted, I still find a way to maintain my Love Foundation because it's important that I maintain it. In order for me to do the spiritual works, or for if God leads me to a certain individual help, I have to be obedient. So as I'm obedient, I go help out the individual, and I did this. This person, was having a lot of bad things. All I can tell you is when Jesus Christ intervenes, and by the works that I did, this person is doing better now. That's all I can tell you right now, because uh, it was just supposed to be between me and this individual. There's brother Matt. There's my guest right there. Brother Matt, uh, I'm gonna send you an invite to bring you to the camera. Here we go. Thank you all for tuning in here, brother Larry Joe, sister Madeline. Uh, here we go. How you doing, brother Matt?
Hey, how you doing, Abe?
Uh, One thing I want to do before we start talking to brother Matt here, I want to send an apology to brother Matt. He was trying to contact me in good faith yesterday, and it's like yesterday I just kind of completely shut down with everybody. It's like I didn't want to associate with anybody because I don't know who was who, and that's what happens sometimes when you go through what you're going through. But I want to apologize to brother Matt. I don't want him to think that I didn't want to disassociate with him. I was just going through a lot, and sometimes when you go through a lot, you just have to keep it to yourself, But it's like I was battling spiritually yesterday, but I just want to send that apology to brother Matt. Me and him have been talking for a while now. We met at the PRT conference towards the end, so we're going to talk about the things that cannot break us is the things that can make us of who we are right now. And I want brother Matt to introduce himself to whoever's here viewing. Go ahead, brother Matt.
First, I want to say thanks, Abe. And you don't need to apologize. We talked about it, and excuse me. There's no sorries needed between us, man. I have love for you and a ton of people. Um, from the conference, I made so many friends and family, and we're good, bro. There's nothing to worry about. Hello to everybody. Those don't know me, my name is Matt Emch. I was born in Youngstown, Ohio, and I've just been, happily becoming part of this cryptid community for a while now. I had a dog man experience when I was younger with three of my friends, but that's not why I'm here tonight. I'm here tonight to talk about something else that's really, quite honestly, very near and dear to my heart, and that's spirituality. Um, emotions and heart and family, and so that's why I wanted to join you tonight. You asked me, and I'm glad to.
Yes, right here in spiritual, we can talk about anything you want to talk. We can talk about what we're going to talk about right now, and you can say maybe a little bit of what you experienced, because I believe all that has to do with dealing with the balance, what I experienced. But I want you to share your experience of what you're experiencing in your life since you were a kid all the way up to now to your present time. Your trials, your tribulations, your tests, your obstacles that you have to overcome. But it makes you stronger of the person that you are right now because through those experiences, you get wisdom and knowledge, and you become more in tune spiritually. I just want you to share whatever you want to share, brother. This is your whatever you want to say.
Um, I have since ever I was a very child. You know, I come from a family of Catholics, and my mom and dad are no longer here. They're both up in heaven, and we were all raised to believe there's 5 children in my family, and we're all still here, thank God. And we were always taught to believe in a higher power and family, and family is very serious in my family. And you don't have to be blood to be family. But when you're close to everyone, and you're close to friends, and those that mean a lot to you, you'll go to war for them. And blood is, the old line, blood is thicker than water. And that doesn't just mean your genetic family. And I have met a lot of people over the years that have become my family. And I see Larry Joe Fisher on there, and he is somebody I'm becoming very close to, and Martin Groves and Barton Nunley and Daryl Denton. Those four, I
Yes.
call the four horsemen, so to speak. And I have a lot of other friends that I've made. Somebody I am beyond close with right now is Dominic Josh Ninocchio of What Lurks Beneath, and he is for all intents and purposes my family. I'm good friends with Josh Turner and his family, and I got to spend private time with them when I was at the conference with his family. You learn a lot about people when you spend time just, like sitting down to dinner and talking. I talked with his wife about, family things about growing up. And, I didn't just have, this dog man experience that a lot of people are talking about right now. And I understand that's popular. And that's not just who I am. I've always felt since I was young, I've been able to, I don't know, I don't want to say something strange like,
Go ahead, brother. You can say whatever you're feeling. That's what it's called, spiritual encrypted encounters.
I've been
So people can have an understanding of things. Yes.
I've been able to, like, pick them on people's emotions since I was a kid. I've been able to know somebody from the moment I meet them if they're a good person or not. I've noticed extreme detail that it's so much so since I was a kid that I've freaked my family out to this day. And I pride myself on.
So how old were you, brother, when you had this gift? What age that
I
you were able to sense,
remember
like discern people, discern what's within a person, or what they might be thinking, or what they're going to say? Because I know it's happened to me. What was your age when this was happening to you?
I can't put an exact age on it. I just know as young as I can remember far back, I've always just been gravitated towards good human beings. I've been able to meet someone and immediately, and especially the older you get, and when you just know how to read that detail, I just know how to read people. I just when you meet somebody that's got a I don't know, say negative aura, I
Yes.
don't see aura, but I can just feel
Sense.
people.
Yes.
And I am drawn to positivity. I'm drawn to people that have hearts. I don't like negativity or people that are mean to someone, or someone that trolls videos on YouTube just to be mean and say negative things, even though they don't know anything about it. So when I was young, I was just like a short little fat kid, and I got made fun of when I was in grade school, and I went through a lot of tough stuff. And I got older and taller and big, and better looking. And it's funny, those people that make fun of you and stuff, they change when they get older, and people grow up. But
Yes.
I was relentlessly teased when I was really young, and being somebody that when children are mean, and I went through a lot of tough stuff, and I just suffered a lot, and again, that just drew me towards more positive people.
When those things were happening to your brother, that you felt that people were targeting you in a negative way, did you feel spiritually like you was going through something spiritually, like was it something that kept on happening over and over, like something was trying to change your heart of who you really are as a individual?
Looking at it now as an adult, I turned 50 on in May, and
Happy belated birthday, brother.
thank you. It was in May, and it's tough to get older, but with age comes wisdom. And looking back, I'm glad the things happened that they did, because it helped put me in a position to become the person that I am today. And
Yes.
Everything has had effects on me, and it made me more sensitive towards people that are bullied. And I remember when I was in high school, you know, I was okay at football, and I was pretty good. And you know, everybody wants to be athletes' friends who are good and stuff. And I remember I'd be walking through the halls at high school, and I would notice, you know, walking down the hall, you know, people getting picked on. And I would always make a point to, you know, go up into those situations and put my arm around somebody like that while it's happening and be like, hey buddy, how you doing today? You know, what's going on? Hey guys, how you doing? You know, my friend, you know, whoever. And you know, that just something like that can change someone's life, or maybe even save it. You know, I went to school with a gentleman that unfortunately, you know, took his own life, and you know, he was a very depressed soul, and everybody just wondered maybe we could have done something, and that stuck with me. And so I just always try and make a point to, number one, squash. Everybody needs to squash bullying and stuff like that. If you ever see it, try and help. I just feel like, I don't know, there's just too much negative things in this world, and this world could change. It really could change if people just made a concerted effort to just be nicer, and to say something nice to someone. Because even somebody that's having a horrific life, or a bad month or something, and they might be thinking about ending it, just somebody just that they don't even know walking by them and just say, hey, how are you? You know, or smiling at
Yes.
somebody. That could be life. So I've gone through a lot of health problems, specifically in the last, oh my God, probably since 91. So I've had 27 surgeries lifetime. Since last April, I've had 10. Three of those times during those 10 surgeries, I have almost lost my life 3 times. So I've almost checked out 3 times. One of which, so I lost my leg below the knee during those 10 surgeries. And so, you know, I'm an amputee now, and I've made my peace with it. It's definitely something that's not easy to live with, especially when you're an athlete. Not even if you're not, losing a limb is horrific. But when
Yes,
you,
it could be, it could affect you spiritually and mentally. I
every
understand.
puts you in a bad place, man. I've gone through some dark moments, especially since then, and I had some infections and almost passed. But the one that was the most serious is when I had my leg amputated. I fell a couple times, which I'm sure anybody can understand. You lose a limb, you don't know how to deal with that, and you don't know how to move. And what happened, long story short, was I fell twice, and you know, there were still sutures in it. And what occurred was, some of the sutures had opened, and I had a hole maybe that big that opened up. And long story short, again, I went to emergency, and I sat there for 5 hours and never saw a doctor. So I called my wife to come pick me up, and I said, that's it, I'm not waiting anymore. And I had been told by my surgeon, who my home healthcare nurse had sent a picture and said, they said, you need to go to the emergency, you know, something bad could happen, and they should fast track you. Well, they didn't fast track me. And on our way home, the artery blew in my leg, and I lost 2.5 pints of blood. And my heart stopped for about 90 seconds. And during that time,
When when you decided to leave the hospital because you was waiting, was there like a thought that you were um, uh, somewhere within you were upset because they didn't see you off the bat? So something within yourself told you, "Hey, let's get the hell out of here."
it was,
Because I know it, like
which,
something within you, like you say, you know what? I don't need to be here. They don't want to see me. I'm out of here.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
angry. You know,
yeah.
I'm gone.
Uh, that's what I'm saying. This unseen forces, people don't understand, and I want to bring it up. Is That's what I told the person that helped us spiritually. I said, look, if you get a thought of something negative, rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name. Because if you get a negative thought of something, it's not really you thinking it, because you were there because you had a hole in your leg and you wanted the help from the hospital. But something within you got you mad. It said, hey, they're not like. putting it in your head, hey, they don't want to see you and all this, so you got up and left because you were angry. But that's
True.
what they do. These unseen forces, we're just saying here in spiritual encrypted encounters, this unseen forces, that's what they do. They they put images in your head, they put thoughts in your head that it's not actually you, but that's how they work. The opening that brother Matt had here is that he was upset. So that's how what they do. He went, he left the hospital, and then this happened with his artery.
Yeah.
But that was the unseen forces that was causing that. You know, there's sometimes people that want to blame Jesus Christ, but it's not. Nobody's perfect. But when you have a spiritual opening of anger or hatred, things like that can happen. But I'm just glad that you're still here, brother, to share your story. So I'm gonna let you continue to share your story.
Yeah, it really wasn't, anything in my. I didn't get mad at God or anything. It was
No, yes.
that it was just I was I was really angry because I sat there for 5 hours. I didn't get to see anybody, so I just said, "Screw this! I'm not waiting. You're not getting my insurance money from this." And I had my wife pick me up, and we were on the way home. And literally 3 minutes after I left, the artery blew in my leg, and it sounded like water running, and it wasn't. Looked at each other, and we're like, what the heck is that noise? And my at the time my daughter was 14 years old. She was behind me, and I looked down between my legs, and there was a literal faucet of blood just spraying out of my legs. And I, of course, oh my God, I'm bleeding. And she pulled over, and it was just mass hysteria. And
What
I
kind of meds were you on, brother, when that happened? Was you like on blood thinners or anything like that?
no, like I had said, I had surgery, so I still had sutures in. So
Oh,
they had
okay.
my leg, and I had, unfortunately, when I fell right on that leg. So
Oh man.
it broke some of those sutures. The leg opened. It had not healed yet at all. It was just, I was maybe a week out from the amputation. So, the artery blew, and I was losing a ton of blood, and I literally was feeling my life leave me. And I remember, there was a gentleman that worked at the gas station, who actually he was an ex-combat medic, which you can approve.
Yes. Combat light, yes, for the
I
combat medic.
He was trying to help, and he made a makeshift tourniquet that slowed it. It didn't stop it. A doctor was driving by and saw the car, came over and saw and said, "Oh my God, we got to get stopped." The ambulance took a little bit of time to get there, and finally they got there, and they snatched me up and they threw me in the back of the ambulance, and we were on the way to the hospital. And I lost consciousness because, I lost consciousness in my wife's car, and I told my daughter and my wife, I said, I'm going. And I remember losing consciousness and going black, hearing my daughter scream, Daddy, no, my wife saying, Matt, don't. And then I woke up in the ambulance only for maybe 5 to 10 seconds, long enough to know it was bad because I heard what the paramedics were saying. And then I lost consciousness again. And basically, I'm not going to give every detail because there's some personal things that
That's
happened.
right, brother.
But I saw, and I'm gonna start by saying this, just like I say on my cryptid experience that happened with the dog man. Everybody, I'm looking at everybody out there. You can believe whatever you like. If you don't believe me, I don't begrudge you. It's okay. I won't be mad at anybody if but I'm telling you, I saw my mom and dad who are they're dead. I lost my dad from pancreatic cancer. I lost my mom, complications from lupus. They're gone. I saw them, and it was as real as me as talking to you right now. And I started bawling my eyes out. I'm like, how is this possible? And I was standing, so I had my leg, and people can say it was just a dream. And I've looked into this, and you hear scientists and doctors say, well, that when people have near-death experiences, it's just a chemical that causes extreme, detailed memories. Your life flashes before. My life didn't flash before my eyes. It was real, and I saw them, and there were some things said that I'm not going to say, and they're just between me and my parents. And my mom, at one point, my dad had his arm around me, and he was smiling at me, and my mom said, honey, you're not supposed to be here. It's time for you to go. And I'm crying, bawling. You guys are gone. I want to see you. What are you talking about? And she put her hand on my cheek like she always used to, because she was just real short. I'm 6'4" and like 4'6". She's really tiny. So
Wow.
look up at me, and she touched my face, and I woke up on the operating table before they gave me anesthesia to save my life, to put me out. And I had tears pouring out of my eyes, and the surgeon looked at me, and she was so sweet. And she put her hand on my head, and I think she thought I was crying because of what was going on. And she just said, Matt, we're going to take care of you. And they put me out. They saved my life. And it took 10 bags of blood and 2 giant bags of plasma. And once they got that back in me, they got the artery closed up. The next day, I was my old self again. In fact, the doctors and the nurses couldn't believe I was the same person. So I give them credit. They saved my life, but I know what I saw. I'm not afraid to die anymore, because I know there's something after this life. I told my siblings, and they all 100% believe me. And who on earth would lie about something like this? People can say, "Oh, I don't believe his dogman experience." People just don't have the ability, if they've never had an experience, to wrap their head around something like that.
Yes.
Again, I don't begrudge them. I really don't. You don't have the ability to open your mind to, because you didn't have it happen. Well, this happened to me too. And I'm not lying. Who on earth would make something like that up? You'd be a horrible human being. And I,
I believe your brother what you experienced, because that happened to me also. So something that nature where I couldn't see them, but I could hear them around me, and they were talking. I could hear my grandfather, my mother, and my aunt. You know, they were saying, "Should we take him now?" Like, "Should we take him now?" And then my grandfather says, "No, he's a strong person. He can fight through all this that he's going through." That's when I was fighting spiritually in Elms Grove,
hmm?
and I remember waking up from that. And that right there, just by hearing them, gave me inner strength. That I know that they were around me, watching over me. At that time, I had no movement for my leg. My leg had the blood clot. I had a blood clot in my left leg all the way up into my body. The doctors would tell me we never seen nothing that big before. But at the same time, it's, the VA, they wasn't giving nothing. Didn't even give me a cane to try to support myself. So which I had to go into the woods and cut a piece of tree, a little tree, and made it into a cane. But they gave me the strength to know that they were around me, and it gave me the courage to fight and to become better. So I started walking. Everything I did to rebuild myself, I had to do it, because I knew that they showed themselves to me spiritually, that there is a higher power. When you experience it like what you experienced, your parents, I believe you, 100%, brother. I
One
know.
thing,
I just know what you're talking about.
thank you. And one thing, and if you look at anybody goes to what lurks beneath with Dominic Pinocchio's channel, and the one thing I pride myself on is my father. He was an overgrown Boy Scout. He was the most honorable human being this earth has ever seen. And I'm not just saying that because he was my dad. He was an honorable man times a million. And he taught all 5 of us that it's very important, for you to be an honest, true soul. And I pride myself on being a truthful person. And anybody that knows me, that's why I don't worry about anyone who doesn't believe me on here. Because if I don't know you, you don't know me. It's fine. You make your decision. That's okay. But
As
those,
you can see, brother, we're talking here, and you can see the comments in the bottom. This is real people here. One thing when I created this group is to just allow real people, any no trolls or anything like that, any fake profiles, and if somebody becomes out, shows itself as a troll, I boot them out completely out of the group. That's why my group is limited to a certain amount of people, or else it would have been already real big a long time ago. But I rather have real people than fake
agree.
profiles, or somebody's trying to interrupt something spiritual that what you're sharing your life experience with the viewers, uh, and I want people to listen to what you have to say,
Place.
through your experiences.
And I appreciate that, Abe, and I'm sure everybody appreciates that here. There should be safe haven. There's too much negativism in the world itself. I mean, you look at what's going on, over in the Middle East, and it's just so horrific and sad. And I keep having that vision of the poor couple being taken on the news, and I keep thinking about things like that. These innocent people that didn't do anything to anyone. And there should be safe havens on YouTube or on Facebook. There's too much
Di-
mean, evil.
Division, a lot of division that's happening around the world.
Applaud you, Abe, for having that, and that's the way it should be. People should be able to go somewhere and know that they're safe there, and that they can open up and talk about things without people making fun of them or calling them liars and stuff. And I know who I am. The people that know me, and I know a lot of people, know that I'm not a liar and I'm a good human being, and I pride myself on that. And I pride myself on, obviously people can tell that I am an honest person, because if you look at, and you could ask Dominic Josh Nanokia, the reason I keep saying his whole name is because his family and friends call him Josh. He goes by his middle name, but most people know him by Dominic or Dom. So I just want to explain who he is, because if I said Josh, people might think I'm talking about Josh Turner, who's a great, I'm friends with him, but I'm just making a point. You ask him, or you go to that interview, you see 98% or 99% of them are positive, which is a rarity. And I am so touched. And the thing that means most to me is the majority of everybody has said, "I believe you."
So there's 99% in his group. That means there's real people in his group, in his site, that are responding to you in a positive way, because your story of what you said, it touched them somewhere in their hearts
I,
to come at you in a positive way.
and and if I, when I leave this earth, it's like that that me think, what, I did all right in this world. If people think of me in a positive light as a good-hearted, kind soul that cares about people and is not a liar or a troll or a mean, hateful person, I did all right. And I'm not worried about going. And like I said, I know what happened to me. I'm not afraid to die. I don't want to die, but I'm not afraid. I know there's something after we go.
I believe you're a walking miracle, brother,
Thank
of what you just shared. So basically, what I'm saying is that God blessed you to be amongst the living, but as He blessed you to be amongst the living, uh, He's blessed you with spiritual gifts of discernment, and is you're a walking miracle, in which there's other sources that tried to come up against you spiritually, but you're one of God's blessed children. Blessed children means that you've crossed over and have come back. So he's got the blessing of gifts, and the blessing gifts of discernment is with you, but you're blessed. There's unseen forces that are around us. They dislike blessed people. Like, I've crossed over and have come back, and I'm more sure there's many that've gone through something and have come back. They dislike us. The reason they dislike us is because we had an opportunity to cross over and make it into the kingdom of heaven already, but our job here on earth wasn't done. So what happens is we get blessed to come back to our vessel, to our body, even though we're going to suffer, but we get blessed to come back. And as we might suffer, we're going to heal properly in order for us to be able to do God's works, right? That's why I do this works that I do. If where I've been and stuff like that, I could have just worry about what I was going through, but no, I've always been a true believer, of Jesus Christ. Uh, but that's what keeps us going, is our faith, our experiences. When you share your story to the viewers, you're touching people's heart, in which you're actually doing God's work. And when you share your stories, it's like people say, "Hey, I'm going through that. I understand Brother Matt, or I understand Brother Abe," and it opens up their hearts for them to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I know how it feels, brother, when you're being spiritually targeted by so many things coming at you once, whether it's spiritual or physical, and it's just trying to find an opening. The opening will be hatred. Because if somebody's targeting you in a negative way, trying to come from all directions, and it's not just the people coming at you; it's the unseen coming at you. Faith has a big part of it, but maintaining love foundation is important. But the number one thing I would say for any of the viewers, forgiving. That's why I forgive people daily. I forgive people daily that come up against me in a negative way because sometimes they don't know what they do. They could be spiritually bonded. So that's why I forgive people daily, and I pray for them because I want them to awaken to see what they're doing wrong, or if they can awaken and have a relationship with Jesus Christ, then He can intervene and help them to whatever they're going through. So, and that's why I wanted to talk about this here with you, brother Matt, because of what you've experienced spiritually. And even though you've been through what you've been through, it just made you a stronger person spiritually. And that's what I see.
I believe.
Something was trying to interrupt from me speaking to you yesterday, but it wasn't dealing with you. It was just being overwhelmed big time yesterday.
And I'm
I
sorry.
vent, I vented the way I vented, but I just want people to understand that I've been through a lot throughout my life. I've lost loved ones through the because of the spiritual battle of the balance. I've been fighting spiritually since I was 3. But I just wanted people to hear Brother Matt's story. And like I said, here you can talk about whatever you want to talk, brothers. And I'm going to continue to let you talk of whatever you want.
I want to just say one thing real quick. I'm sure some people see things behind me. You see the license plate behind me. That was my dad's license plate. So his nickname, so it was Papa. He was, that means, a lot of people know when you're grandfather. Um, Papa G. We used to call my dad G, like the old
Yeah,
Monterey G. So we call him Papa G, and it says Papa 6G, and at that point he had 6 grandchildren. His license for that, his license plate. Um, you know, then my daughter came along, and I think it was 5, and he changed it to 6 for it. I can't remember, but that's his. So that's what that's there for, and it makes me think of him all the time. And yeah, I also just want to say real quick, I appreciate you and your service to this country. 2 of my cousins served in the Navy for 25 years, and they were on, each one of them was on a different aircraft carrier. So, you guys give your lives up to protect this country, and I just want to say thank you. That is, I mean, you give up so much to do that, and I thank you for that. And so many have given their lives, and I'm sure you've lost friends in battle and things, and that's the ultimate sacrifice. So I just want to say thank you for that.
you're welcome, brother. People don't understand, brother. What servicemen do. Like me, I was in the front line, so our training is we train offense, defense, but our mindset has to be recon one at all times. We have to be alert 24/7, whether we're training or not training. So sometimes you have to be, they train you to be a weapon, basically. So in order for you to become that weapon, you have to let go of a lot of things. Sometimes you have to lose contact with people that you love. And it's kind of like sometimes love gets taken out of you because they want you to be just a person to react to a situation. I remember that I kept to myself a lot. I wouldn't really talk to my family too much because people don't understand when you train and you go to combat, if you're not alert, and you can have any kind of distraction, you can be worried about what's going on back home. You can worry about. So I wouldn't write. No, I wrote nobody letters from when I was out there because I didn't want no distractions. I didn't want to know what was going on back home. You're placed in a situation where you got to be alert 24/7. So I had to become that way. But after I left the military, it's like I knew I had to change. Because it's not a good feeling seeing people die, whether it's your friends that are in combat or the enemy. It's not a good thing when a soul leaves this earth, because it's either you or them. But I had to find the inner me, which is a love foundation, and that's what I found, and sometimes I, I've been through my obstacles, being sick, whether it's a blood clot that I still carry to this day on my left leg. Imagine this. I have blood clot. I have a epilepsy from a blow to the head when I was in the military. I have diabetes, high blood pressure, and many other things, right? And even like that, the inner warrior, which will be Sergeant Cias, wants to come out, even though my body is the way it is Sergeant Cia's personality comes out ready to handle business. But that's how I used to be. But at times, brother, we have to forget our ailments. Even in combat, people don't understand that there's a lot of people, a lot of soldiers when we're out there that are not 100% ready to fight. They have ailments also. But when you're out there, you have to forget about what's wrong with you. You know, the quickest problem that the government wants to do is give you ibuprofen. You could have a broken foot, don't want to give you ibuprofen. They don't even want to put it on a cast. So they just want you to be 100% ready to go to combat. They don't care what's wrong with you.
Hmm.
They just want you to be ready to go. So as we endure that, we have that mentality when we come out. So I can have all these ailments, but the enemy, how I train, I still train till this day, is ready to go. But I'm used to being that way. That's what people don't understand. I can tell you the ailments that I got, what I just said, but I'm still ready to go. It's kind of like stuck with me.
You've got,
Uh, you know, and the when I was talking about say never give up, I'll say it's the same pose. The reason I do the same pose is because when I look at the picture from the day before, I say, okay, let's do the workout. It gets me motivated to do the workout. I have to do that. It's kind of like talking to yourself, right? To get self motivated. But I look at the picture and that motivates me to do the workout. No matter what pain I'm feeling, I manage a way to do some kind of workout. Something is better than nothing. Uh, at one time, there was this doctor that told me, your health is so bad that you're in the verge of getting a heart attack. That's what he told me. So I took that to heart, and it's like, what is he? I pray to God. So what is he trying to tell me? So I started going walking, started exercising, doing things that I hadn't been doing. When I went back to him, he's like, I did the test. I don't know what you're doing. So, but whatever you're doing, keep it up because you just reversed is what he said on the road you were going to of the heart attack. It's the opposite now. You reverse it for a positive way. So I just wanted to share this to whoever the viewers is
thank you.
listening here in spiritual encrypted encounters. But there's a lot of things that people don't understand what veterans have to deal with, the memories, of what we
And
witness, and we have to live by for the rest of our lives because when you experience something, you will never forget it. Just like Brother Matt, he remembers play by play of what he went through. But anyways, Brother Matt, sorry I got a little bit carried away there.
no,
I just want you to speak now, brother. Whatever. When you honestly, I haven't been really viewing too many videos of podcasts or anything like that because of what I've been going
mhm,
through. But I want you to talk about what you witnessed. I mean, I know you said you had a dogman encounter, right? Oh,
right. I'm going to give you the abridged version. If
there
anybody
you go.
wants to see the whole thing, please,
Well,
and
where's the whole video at, brother? You can share it here.
well, yeah.
Uh,
So the whole video, the most recent interview is at What Lurks Beneath on YouTube.
what looks
Yes,
what
you
looks pretty.
go there and you hit videos. Josh or Dominic Ninocchio just released a new one, so it's the second newest one. It released on Friday. I believe it has either 200 or just a little 200,000 views since Friday. And again, out of all of those, again, I can't tell you how much I pride myself on. 99% of them are all positive, and people, said, I believe you. And again, that's what means the most to me. Not that all these people, it's blowing up and people are, I can't, I mean, getting contacted nonstop, which is not normal for me. This is new for me, but, because I don't see that as like, I deserve any kind of stardom or anything. And it's not a stardom. It's just I'm being contacted. And I think what it is, honestly, Abe, what I've noticed the majority of what's been going on is tons of personal messages, and people just they keep saying that my honesty and the way that I put it out there has resonated with people, and I think they feel connected, and they just want to just say hi. Or what's really been happening a lot is I've been getting most of the contact I've gotten is people that say, I just want you to know I watched your interview, and I've had something happen and I've been hiding it for years, and because I watched you, I've decided that I'm going to tell it now too. And
That's good.
powerful to me.
You're awakening people
Right.
spiritually, or you're waking people,
If I can,
awakening them to let it out instead of
yeah,
holding it within themselves.
person, Abe, if I can help just one person. I had this young lady, I don't know her, I've never met her. She messaged me yesterday and she said, I don't want to sound crazy to you. I know you don't know me and you don't have to talk to me. She said, but I just wanted to tell you that, I had something happen. And I stopped her and I said, first and foremost, I said, if you watched my interview, obviously I'm not going to think you're crazy, because I know there's things out there that go bump in the night, and I'm not going to call you crazy. I'm not going to call anybody crazy, because anything is possible after what happened to me. And she just said, I think I'm finally ready. I think she said it was like 37 years she's been holding this in, and she's just refused to tell anyone for fear of being made fun of, called crazy. The same old thing that's been
Yes.
surrounded of the cryptid community for decades. And she said, I think I'm ready to tell. And she said, would you allow me to tell you? And she told me, and I said, there you go. You've told one person, and I believe you. And that was powerful. And she started to cry, and I'm like, it's all good. You don't have to cry. I believe. That made me feel good. And again, I'm not out here. I obviously don't have a channel. I am going to release a channel, and when I do, I'll let everybody know. That's something that's been in the works for a long time. I've dragged my feet. But I'm not doing. I didn't do this to try and get all of these views. I had no idea this was going to happen. I just told what happened to me.
Like I said, you're blessed by the Heavenly Father that you're able to connect with the people. You're able to connect to the people, and He's using you as a vessel. It's up to you. He's giving you the platform to be able, and people opening up to you. Is that the connect? Their spirits are connecting to your spirit, right? That's why I always say here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters is, when I started this, it used to be called Positive Spiritualist, but my Facebook got deleted because people came up against me, so I created Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. But I would always have a saying also back then when it was Positive Spiritualist: if I could only reach one, two, three people, at least I'm opening. How should I say? There's certain people that I'm being able to touch. When people will contact me through Messenger, and that's why it all started for me. But eventually the group, is growing a little bit, But like I said, I get rid of the trolls, and I rather have real people. Okay, I like doing lives here one on one. Maybe when I get the platform to get up there in numbers, if I ever do, I'll do it on YouTube, or I do have the option of doing it on StreamYard. But I rather do it here. What I do is I go live here. I download the video from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters and I share it to YouTube, and that's where a lot of the viewers come and check it out there also. But I'm glad that you're able to get the platform to be able to share your story, and you've touched people in a positive way, and they're just going to motivate you to keep on doing the work that you're doing. Because I know that motivates me when I can help somebody spiritually.
Hmm.
And like I said again, I believe a lot of things were happening yesterday because it didn't it wanted me to be a certain way so I won't be able to connect with people like you, brother. I felt yesterday was just I was bombarded big time. That I had to say what I had to say, but it's like I say, I need to go back to what I started. When I think about positive spiritualists, before that I was doing works in this group called Light Workers of the World. Light Worker Life Feeds. Uh, but when they started taking Jesus Christ out of the picture, and they didn't want me to bring Jesus Christ in the picture, that's when I left the groups because that's where my faith is. So a lot of these groups, like that I just mentioned, they just wanted to do. It was dealing with. They wanted to do tarot card readings. They wanted to do other kinds of readings in other kinds of ways, but they wanted me to leave Jesus Christ in the picture, and I can't do that. Jesus Christ blessed me to come back from the dead to the living. So I cannot deny Jesus Christ
Right.
because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here just for you, like you, brother.
Me too.
You wouldn't be here
Me
either. So
too.
when it's kind of like in the same situation right now where I'm going through, people want me to go against brother Josh Turner, sister Bettina Moss, but I was targeted also, and it's kind of like I'm in the same boat. I'm not gonna deny somebody that got affected the same day I got affected. I gotta stand for what's right. And that's what it's been. And then there's of course there's like you said bullies. There's uh, people that hide behind the computers and troll, and you got people with fake profiles, people that they say that they're Christians and they believe in God, but the action they do is the opposite. Uh, lie after lie after lie, and they want to say all these things, but they don't look that they're the ones that started everything. But
You know,
I just leave it up to God. I'm just going to leave that up to God to handle those individuals. 'Cause I don't got time for if somebody's not serious. Like for example, being truthful, and if they cannot man up to my challenge that I did yesterday, and it's sad that I have to go out of my demeanor of who I am as a person to do that. But I'm just trying to find a solution to solve the situation.
right.
I mean, I believe what I said yesterday was spiritual encrypted encounters is on the line here on Facebook and YouTube, and the challenge was a spiritual combat, uh, mutual combat that's legal here in Texas. Mutual combat is legal here in Texas. If they defeat me, then this group will not exist no more. And I went to the extreme in that manner because you know why, brother? Because I can see right through them and I can see the bluff. It's like a trump card, but it's a bluff because I already know that they're not gonna take that offer
Well,
because
I want to say
they're not they're not genuine people.
I want to
Go
say
ahead,
this,
brother.
and this refers back to bullies and stuff. And I want to say this real quick before I say what bullies are bullies until somebody stands up to them. But um, I also want to say this: you have all these people out there that are doing all this stuff, and I want to say, Bettina is a dear friend of mine. I love her. She's a sweet woman. Um, Josh is him. I already said what I said about Josh and his family, and you're a wonderful human being. And I actually feel bad for these people that are causing trouble, because in the end, I really believe that they're just sad human beings that are having a bad life, or something is wrong in their life, so that because they're so unhappy and because they're having a tough time and maybe somebody's not reaching out, they're just putting their ugliness on other people. So it's sad because it's just a reflection of what's going on inside of them. That's all I'm going to say about that. But uh, you know
Yes, in my case, I got an invitation like 8 months ago to this group, AI. We already know the name to that group by Michael to join the group. They joined the group and I placed like several pictures, and they told me, hey, you can place that many pictures. Just place one picture and place a circle of what you see something within the picture, right? So I started doing that right off the bat. You know, I wanted to follow the rules within the group, and next thing you know, all this. I started getting negative comments, so I started deleting all this. I said, man, this group here has a lot of trolls, so I'm deleting comments, and it continued to happen for about 8 months that way. You know that I'm used to deleting people with negative comments. You know that's what I do. I block them, right?
Yeah, that's the way you should.
So, so after all that, after 8 months of being trolled and making fun of or whatever, bullied, uh, this character. The only reason I found out is because of Sister Bettina. Damon Peterson was saying, called me the Rick. He called me the Red Circle King. And I was like, wait a minute, why is this guy calling me the Red Circle King? And I was like, and I started thinking, you know, like, man, there's something ain't right with this. You know, this Damon Peterson seems kind of fishy. So I'm arguing back and forth with this character. Next thing you know, it's like, it's, instead of being Damon Peterson, he changes to Michael, where I believe he switched accounts, you know, from the fake profile. When he took the fake profile out, his other profile that was already on jumped right in. So, and he's asking me, he said, "Why are you arguing with me?" He asked me, why are you telling me this?" I'm like, "Wait a moment, I was just talking to the Damon Peterson." So I said, so you're Damon Peterson. So basically, what I'm saying is, this guy invited me to his group, and he was mocking me in his group for 8 months, which was Michael, and he was just mocking me there. He was mocking me in the PRT Paranormal Roundtable group because he was there. I remember one of his things he said, "Yeah, there's people they're making fun of Abe Sia's over there and the Paranormal Roundtable." Well, the reason he said that is because it was him with his fake profiles making fun of me. The same thing he was doing there in his group, he was doing in other groups. So it was you could say he was that's a form of bullying, you know, falsifying yourself when like you're talking to me as Matt and I'm talking to you as brother Abe. My real name is Abram, but
Mhm.
everybody calls me Abe. Uh, so you know we're talking here person to person, but this guy, you know, I guess he got so used of having so many fake profiles and making fun of people, trolling people, bullying people that he messed up and he gave his identity away. And that's where we're to this point right now where he gave his identity away that Damon Peterson was Michael, you know. And, you know, he can deny all he wants to deny, but that's the truth. And it's like, you invited me to this group. Why are you going to invite me to the. This is what I understand is why is somebody going to invite me to the group just to make fun of me for 8 months with a fake profile when all he had to do is say, "Hey, Abe, you know, straight up like me and you talking,
Mhm.
I don't like what you do," or he didn't have to go to the extreme and troll me for 8 months and then make fun of me with a fake profile. All he had to do is tell me in my face, you know, and I would have made. I said, "Okay, well, you don't like my work, so I'll leave your group." I would have left this group, but no, it's because these people here. It's not that that's what they do. That's the works that they do. They like to do those evil works, and I believe 100% that I'm not the only person that done this to. They've done it to many other people. But you know, if that's the works that they want to do, and that's what they do. Well, I'm just here to let them know that's nothing dealing with Jesus Christ. You know, as a matter of fact, when a person is possessed or demonized, that they don't know what to do is because they're being controlled by a different source. You know, we got Legion that can do that. We got the disembodied demonic Nephilim that can do that. We got other forces through witchcraft and necromancy that can possibly do that if you have a spiritual opening. I'm just letting you know that's the works that you dwell in. That's what you do, you
Mm.
know, and which is there's nothing dealing with God. So basically, what I'm comparing is a person being possessed to a person that has 40, 50 fake profiles and follows people. If you think about it, a person with 40, 50 profiles, let's say that the Legion comes in many, right? In numbers.
Mhm.
So you think the person possibly, if you think of it, you put a man that was possessed with a legion that Jesus Christ casted the swine into the herd of pigs because that's where they wanted to go. They didn't want to go back to where they came from. A person that is one person with so many fake profiles, it's possible that this guy Mikey could be possibly possessed when he thinks he's got all these alter egos, alter personalities, that he could be positively possessed in that way, which is basically what I'm saying. He could be bonded. But sometimes that's what people choose. Is dealing with a balance. You got good, you got bad, the yin, the yang, and that's what people choose. Bullies, bullies choose to be bullies till somebody brings them down from the high horse. Stands up to them. That might change their ways of treating people.
Yeah,
But
I think the most important thing, Abe, if I could give you any advice, is I don't know any of these people. I've never been there. I've never been there. I just, not purposely.
yes,
Um, all from what I've heard, it's just, all it comes off to me is it's just an extremely unhappy person that's being just a bully to people, and I think that there's just something deeper for them, and I just, the way that I don't have time for things like that in my life, and it's just like, what, you're a good person, you have great effect on people, just, hey, bye, I'm not even acknowledging you. And I just actually want to ask you something. You brought something else up just right there that I'm interested in the knowing about. Could you like explain a little bit more about, like, you mentioned the what was it, the Enoki, and am I saying that correctly?
the disembodied demonic Nephilim.
Oh, the Nephilim, that's right. Could you, like, explain a little bit about the Nephilim a little bit? I'd like to learn a little bit more about
Okay, I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to share a story with you. The disembodied demonic Nephilim. Whoever knows the Watchers, when the Watchers were affiliated with Lucifer, when they were here watching over mankind, the Watchers they slept with women, earthly women, in which He created the Nephilim, which were not creation of God. They were creation created by the Watchers, in which, since they wasn't created by the Heavenly Father, they would never make it into the kingdom of heaven. So they dislike all of God's creations, and they dislike us as human beings because we're the image of
it.
God. So when they were destroying the earth because they hated mankind, because that wasn't created by God, the flood came. God created the
Right.
flood, instructed Noah to build the ark, and he destroyed the vessel of the Nephilim, which is a body.
Mhm.
After the flood, the whole bodies was destroyed of the Nephilim. The only thing that was left, since they were part demonic, because like I said, there were Watchers affiliated with Lucifer.
Mhm.
They're here on Earth still in disembodied form, which means spirit form. So they're here amongst
Do you
us.
believe
When
exorcist people get possessed?
yes,
Do you believe that?
they have the capability to possess because they're part demonic, right? So I'm going to share a story with you since I'm talking about this, so you can understand where I'm coming from, how I've been fighting this thing spiritually. The first time I ever witnessed this disembodied demonic Nephilim was when I was 3 years old, when my brother was sick and they couldn't find a cure for him in the States. He was always seeing snake and spiders, and we went to Mexico to a medicine woman, and I went there with a medicine woman. She said she could heal him, but if she healed him, that I would have to stay with her for 6 months
Hmm.
in Mexico, right? So I seen him get healed by this medicine woman, where she had an egg in her hand and was rubbing it on him. My brother, he had high fevers, and he had fallen so many times that his elbow was messed up, his leg was messed up from so many falls from the high fevers. That's what the doctors from the U.S. had said, that he was going to pass away from so many high fevers.
Oh, good.
So I seen him rubbing the egg and doing crosses on his body, and she cracked the egg. When she cracked the egg, there was a black chick that came out, a baby black chick.
Mm-hmm.
He had a broken wing and a broken leg. But then when I looked at my brother was healed. His leg was better, his arm was better, and the fevers, hallucinations. Fevers cause hallucinations. All that stopped because the high fever was causing the hallucination of the snakes and the spiders.
Okay.
So I seen him leave, and I stayed there with a medicine woman. You could say it was like a century old because I was only this is I was in I was getting like 72, 72, 73. I was like 3 years old. So this woman was from before in the times like in the
Oh,
1800s. She was already very old, a
okay.
very old medicine woman. So I seen the first time I witnessed this disembodied demonic Nephilim, there was a man that she was healing. She was healing this man. She was healing her. She was praying and healing with her spirit. And I witnessed three of them that were causing them sickness leave their body. And what caught my attention then is what catches my attention now through my videos and pictures is that they look this like a beastly form. When we talk about dogman, werewolf-like creatures, a beastly form, and I seen their silhouette in the hut as they left the body. And the reason I could see the silhouette because she had a flame on the ground. Her ground was made out of dirt, so I could see them, and they were pretty tall. And I was just pointing where they were at. And she was asking me in Spanish, "Are they gone? Are they gone?" And I would go like this, "Yes." So
I think
I got to witness those works. Now, fast forward when they came pick me up and brought me back to the States, that the gift of discernment was already with me because of what I witnessed. So imagine walking to get a loaf of bread, and I'm walking and I could see an unclean spirit in the person, and it's showing itself to me that it's got control of the person, like it's making fun of me because it's got control of the person. But at that time I was still young. I didn't know the spiritual or how to fight spiritually at that time, but I know how to fight spiritually now
mhm.
and exactly what to do. Um, I had a chicken coop, two chicken coops, because we lived in a four lot. It was my grandmother, my grandfather, and our house was right there beside them in the four lots. We used to go get the eggs from the chicken coops. We every day got in some eggs from one, and we're going to go to another chicken coop. And it was drizzling. My grandma said, "Wait here by the blackberry tree, because the chickens were clucking." It's like there's a possum in there. It's trying to kill the chickens. So he grabs a stick. It goes inside the chicken coop, and it was like a cabin. So he goes in there, and next thing you know, I hear him screaming, and screaming in pain. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. At that time, I was like 5 years old. So I grab a little stick. I go into the doorway. As I go into the doorway, and I'm looking for the possum that's causing him harm. In Spanish, it's called tacuache. I'm looking, and what I witnessed, brother Matt, is my grandfather elevated up in the air. He's elevated. It was a big man, like 6'5". He
Mhm.
was elevated up in the air, and I'm looking at him, and there's his shirt is ripped off of him. His pants are ripped off of him, and scratches were just coming out of nowhere on his body. Like his skin is just getting sliced, boom, on his face, his body, his legs. And I'm witnessing this, and then I witnessed what I call the disembodied demonic Nephilim. Very tall, what people want to call it a Bigfoot, if that's what they want to call it, because as big as it was huge. It had red eyes, and I'm looking at it, and it drops them because it's looking at me. It drops them,
Mhm.
so it's looking at me, and it lunges at me. When it lunges at me, it doesn't come at me running like a beast. It lunges at me, and becomes in this embodied form like a mass of black smoke or spirit, like a shadow form, lunges right at me. And so it's coming directly at me, and I'm by the door, and I sense the presence of the Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ, with me. As I'm sensing that, I knew that I was being spiritually protected. Instead of coming directly at me, because we're all children of God. When we're young, we're still close as almost being angelic. So instead of making direct contact with me, guess what it does, brother? When it senses the angels around me, it takes a detour, breaks the glass, and all that smoke goes out through a little hole right in front of me. When that happens, I hear my grandmother and my grandfather, my grandmother and my uncles, they're like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I'm a kid, and I'm saying, a dark shadow, and voto negro in Spanish, because my grandmother was talk Spanish, my grandfather would talk Spanish. So they get my grandfather out of there, And I'm saying Bulto Negro, but I'm just repeating what I seen, what I witnessed, you know, trying to tell them what happened, you know. If I would have seen a possum attacking them, I would have said it was a taquache and it was a possum. No, I seen a Bulto Negro. So I'm letting them know because they asked me what's happened, what happened. A Bulto Negro, a Bulto Negro. My grandfather comes out there all cut up, bleeding, and they asked him what happened, and he just said it was a possum, but he put his head down in shame because he didn't say what really attacked him.
Mm.
You see, that's why I talk about the DDN, the disembodied demonic Nephilim, because they've affected people that I love in my life all throughout my life. And this is from 1973, right, when I was young. And I'm more sure throughout history, they've affected many families in this way. You know, but they just made me, I didn't fear it when I looked at it, but I knew that through Jesus Christ, because of what I felt, that that's the only way we can overcome them, you know. So you could say there was literally trying to demonize my grandfather. My grandfather had to go to the hospital and get stitches. He had stitches all over his body
Mm.
from big cuts, and that wasn't created by a possum. It was created by this DDN that I speak of. You know, that they have the ability to manifest, to look into a beastly creature. People want to call them Bigfoots. People want to call them dogmen. They're demonic of nature. You know how you put it to the test, brother Matt? If you ever experience something like it again, trust me, because they have the ability to make it look like they're in the flesh. Because it happened to me in Elms Grove. Put it to the test. This what anybody that's here viewing on spiritual encrypted encounters. This is what you want you to do. Those who have faith in Jesus Christ, put it to the test. Next time you see a shadow figure, a hellhound, a dogman, a Bigfoot, that's what it's manifesting to look because it wants you to believe it's that. Put it to the test and say, I rebuke in the name of Jesus Christ and see what happens. And you're going to notice something. When you say, I rebuke in the name of Jesus Christ and call upon the Heavenly Father to assist you spiritually, that what's there that's manifested to look a certain way is going to disappear and it's going to flee because it's going to flee because you bring in Jesus Christ in the picture, and which means that it's not something that's in the flesh. It's this disembodied demonic Nephilim that I speak of.
Well,
And that's how if it disappears in thin air, brother, poof, you smell pestilence, you smell sulfur, it's because it's something that's demonic. Only demons flee. Just like when Jesus Christ took the legion out of the man that was possessed, that went and sent him into the swine.
mm.
Because Jesus Christ had the ability to send them back where they came from, right? But they didn't want to go back. Put it to the test. Anybody here that's viewing, put it to the test. Don't believe exactly what you're seeing. Put it to the test because if you're believing what it's seeing, then you know what it's doing right there, right? When you're believing, it's finding a spiritual opening in you because you already gave it the belief. It's kind of, we can talk about vampires, right? When vampires say, I cannot come in unless you invite me, right? Or if you're seeing something, in this case, you know, if you're believing in it, that's a spiritual opening to what is it going to do? If you're believing in it, it's trying to get into your immediate foundation, which is your vessel,
Mm-hmm.
your foundation. What and when it affects this foundation, what is it doing? It's trying to bond you or possess you, and that's how it gets a lot of people in the cryptic community. I've been witnessing this. You know, I've been witnessing this for months, where people tell me I've seen a Bigfoot or I've seen a dogman in the woods. The next thing you know, they're making a story talking about that the Bigfoot and dogman is living in their household, that is living in their living room, is living in their kitchen. Well, no, what it is this demonic force that's infiltrated and entered your home because you believed in it. So now the only way to get rid of it is, guess how, brother? The only way to get rid of it is through Jesus Christ. You cleanse your home, you bless your home, and you take authority over it through Jesus Christ's name and send it away. Once you do that, whatever's happening in your household is going to stop. I've been doing this works, brother, for many years. Uh, that's why I talk about the disembodied demonic Nephilim. You know, I can sense them. Sometimes they show themselves to me through spiritual law. They have to identify themselves. Have you ever had somebody come at you and say something out of the ordinary? Like, why would that person say that to me? It's because sometimes this unclean spirits, this demon, Nephilim, whatever you want to call them, they are infiltrating in people around you, and they'll say something that only you know. That's when you know you're in a is when they say something that only you know, then it's because it's something spiritual. And if the thing that they're saying to you is something that might have touched you because of a bad experience, it's because it's a spiritual battle, you know. So, but through the spiritual gifts of discernment, you're able to tell what's in front of you because it has to identify itself to you through spiritual law. This when you the story that you experienced with the dog man.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, I haven't had a time to hear it. I will hear it this evening. Um, what is it? What were the events that were happening, brother? Like when all these things happened to you. I mean, like, were you sensing anything out of the ordinary? You were going through something.
I'm glad you asked because you mentioned something. I don't know if anybody noticed. I started getting a little upset. I'm actually a little nauseated. I started sweating a little bit because um,
Let me turn on some Palo Santo real quick. Clear up the air here. Uh, Selenite, brother. If selenite or protect your home, protect your household. I keep selenite throughout my house. Selenite is the closest thing. Selenite, it'll bring your guardian angels. It'll bring the angels and even the spirits of your loved ones to protect you.
mm,
Selenite, Selenite.
okay,
Keep it in your home,
okay,
brother. It'll keep anything negative out of your household.
thank you.
And of course, black tourmaline. I wear black tourmaline around my neck. That keeps any negative things off me. And I keep selenite. This is selenite uh, little pendant that I got. You know, if I have an extra one, I might bless you with it. Maybe, or or you can just purchase one. I keep selenite on my windows. When I moved into this house, I didn't know the story about this house, but I found out later on there was a woman that passed away in this room where I live. And when I first moved in here, somebody would pound on the room. I would hear a woman speaking in my ear, telling me stuff, like, whoa, what's going on here, You hear somebody walking with slippers around the bed. So, I cleansed the home and I placed selenite and I said, hey, you need to leave. You're not welcome here. Your time here on earth is over. So all the activity that was happening here stopped.
That's
But
cool. That's
I'm just sharing with you, brother. Go ahead and what you're going to say,
well.
brother.
What I was going to say is I got a little physically upset because in my experience I had with my three friends. So what happened? And again, the full thing. Not only was I on What Lurks Beneath, Josh Turner interviewed me for this Paranormal Roundtable, but Tina Moss interviewed me. I was on Sasquatch Chronicles, Sasquatch Theory, Tony Merkel's The Confessionals.
Confessionals. Yes.
I've probably been on about 15 by now. So the most detailed one I've ever done was somebody that is with the most recent with Dominic, Josh, and Pinocchio. And I just the reason I started getting a little physically bothered was because when you mentioned the shadow part, how you notice a shadow. So what happened to me was when I was 14 years old, me and my friends we used to frequent the old steel mills down in Youngstown, Ohio, and we'd play down there, and it was the summertime, and this one night we had a fire going, and real quick you said, what was your mindset? So I've believed that mindset has a lot to do with things. You hear a lot about frequency with like different beings, aliens or unknown beings, dogmen, Sasquatch, and other cryptids. That human beings, everything on the earth has a frequency. Trees have frequencies, animals have frequencies, and these cryptids also have frequencies.
Like
Some
energy.
right.
Was you are you saying this? I'm seeing an image of where you were playing. Was there a tree that was falling, blocking a path?
No. This was in a building. This was
Or it
actually,
was in a
yeah.
building?
So it
But
was a steel mill, Abe. So
Oh,
in Youngstown, there's right now there's a newer one, a new steel mill, a working steel mill. But Youngstown, Ohio, used to be a very big steel making town, and these were old, dilapidated, just a steel mill that you'd see a giant area of steel mill buildings and stuff that was just all rusting and broken down and nobody there except for there'd be wild dogs down there and some homeless people and some nefarious stuff would go on with like gangs and mafiosa and
yes,
stuff, and we would hang out down there, and we had a really big fire going in this one building that we like to hang out in. And the one thing I do want to say is, people talk about the mindset and the frequency and stuff. And I believe sometimes human beings or some people that are sensitive are able to somehow or for whatever reason come into either by mindset or just something going on, and your frequency matches these supernatural beings, and you're able to either enter into their world or they're entering into yours, and you notice each other. And what happened was we were all staring at this fire, and I always remember this, is we were all kind of, when you stare at fires, it's mesmerizing.
yes.
We just were kind of doing what a lot of people do. You sit by a fire, everyone just kind of stares, and we weren't talking. And we heard these wild dogs, and we went outside to look, and again, this is the short version. They got in a fight with something out of sight, and it ended up being a gigantic dog, man. I'm gonna at least say this, so big that it looked fake. And I say this in all of my interviews because it has purpose. It was so big, I thought we were asleep. We thought we were dreaming, and this thing came after us, and it almost killed us. And truly believe there was divine intervention, because right when it was probably about 6-7 feet from me and my other two friends had taken off farther into the building, which there was no way out for us. And if you haven't seen it, I'd love for you to watch that. And that would help. And a train came by, and the train tracks went right outside this building, and it made it stop and think about it, and it looked at us, looked back, and it left. And this is where what you mentioned about a shadow made me bothered there for a minute. Is it started to leave the building physically. You could see the arms and the muscles moving and everything, and it was running out. When it got to the last flight of stairs, which would have been the second to the first floor, on the first floor it could leave, it started to change from a physical being into a shadow-like being, and it happened so fast that some people through the years have said, well, maybe it just was running so fast it looked like it just no. We all talked about it. It started to change form and left the building into basically what I have learned over the years of shadow people, how people see them out of the corner of their eyes, and it's just a flash of black.
Parallel to the parallel vision, yes.
It left this building just a black mass. So quick, it was just bam.
There you go. That's what I was trying to get earlier. What I witnessed was like a black mass of energy, or not energy, but like smoke or a shadow coming at me.
Yeah, smoke. It was like a giant shadow that had form. It still had a
Yes,
bit of the form of the dog man.
but then it just dispersed.
It hit the stairs, and it was above the floor, so it wasn't touching anymore, and it was gone. It left, and we tried to leave, and we finally left and got out, thank God. And it was something that affected all four of us for many years. I still have severe PTSD.
It through the fear factor. That's how it affected you. It scared the hell out of y'all. I mean, who wouldn't be scared witnessing something like that? But I'm just glad that uh, that we can talk about this. That we might have something in common
Agreed.
of what I witnessed with my grandfather. I mean, when you see a loved one that you love, my grandfather get attacked that way. People that I helped with a wish with a medicine woman. I said that some medicine woman practicing white magic, or whatever, but they're in some kind of form in that nature. Uh, the medicine woman I know she was doing good works because she was so good that she'll tell the people the names of the people that did the wrong to him. She was that good of a spiritual woman that she had that ability. Just like she had the ability to send them away or cast them out. Uh,
Can I
but yes,
ask you
brother.
something
Go ahead, brother.
else? And I apologize.
Oh, that's fine.
And I know a lot of people, they know what happened to me, and I apologize if I made it short. But
Oh no.
you can see the story on all of those shows, if you want. Everybody interviewed me a different way. Awesome, all of themselves. So everybody that's ever, Bettina and Josh,
I
and
just
they
wanted.
all
I just felt
great. It's just
the
different.
spirit. I just wanted to connect with you
And
spiritually to share some of the things that got me into this journey that I'm on, spiritual journey. Of what I've witnessed. How they can look like they're in the flesh, but when you challenge them spiritually and you rebuke them Jesus Christ, they flee and they disappear. They'll go into a puff of smoke and just flee. They'll leave. That's when if they're responding to when you say I rebuke in the name of Jesus Christ. What does that mean? That means that they're demonic, right?
mm,
If Because if it was something that was in the flesh, you know, and there are predators that just attack for the flesh, well, we wouldn't be here right now, right?
right, for sure. I agree with you. And, like I said, when we survived that, man, I really thought I was going to die that night.
Did you have any flashbacks after that, or
Oh,
because
I,
because of the fear factor?
like,
Was there any other things that were started to happen to you besides of what you witnessed that
um,
day? Like,
nothing. Uh, well, yes, there is something that's happened recently that has to do with the dog, man. I had a very detailed dream about a month ago where I saw it again, and it told me some very detailed things. It was the most ultra realistic dream I've ever had. Um, and basically, in a nutshell, you always have dreams, and in your mind, you're at home, but it's not your home. Well, it was my home, and it was my backyard, and I have woods behind my backyard. And what happened is I heard something in the woods, and I was in my, and again, it was just an ultra realistic dream, and something attacked me from behind. And like I told you, I have a prosthetic, and it ripped my right pant leg off, and it grabbed my prosthetic, and it threw it in the woods, and then it got on top of me, and it did mind speak, and it was 100% the exact same creature that I saw all those years ago. And it did mind speak and said, it didn't say, it said, I was there for you all those years ago. It said, you speak of me too often. And then it warned me. It said, I will see you again. And I woke up, and I was soaking, and my little puppy had her paws on my legs, and she was like looking at me, and it was so real. I cannot tell you. And I feel like it was more than a dream, and I really believe something was up. I've had a lot of little things happen through the years, a lot of very things that can only be described as not normal and supernatural, and things that are just abnormal. And I just believe, um, I think back to what I told you at the beginning of us talking. I've noticed things since I was very young, as far as I can remember. My grandmother said something about me the day she died. She said that Matthew's something about him very special, and I think that she noticed that I had some type of sensitivity. And if it is true that this thing was there because of me, and I think there's just some of us who are have a little something that makes us sensitive, that we're able to notice that other side, that veil that's right in front of all of
so,
us.
so would this happen, brother, to you? Was it daylight,
No,
nighttime?
it was not.
So, no, if it was something of what I speak of, like the Didion, maybe the energy of the fire attracted it to y'all, possibly,
Mhm.
because they like draining energy, or since it was how many, four of y'all? Was it four or three?
It was four of us, but Abe, like I said, it had gotten in a fight with some of these. There was a
Yes.
pack of 7 dogs that got in a fight with them. It was watching them run away. My buddy had backed into this metal thing that caused metal concrete to make a noise, and it noticed us. And once it,
Yeah, well, yeah, like dogs, cats, they can sense that. They can sense the ability of a dog and a cat. They can sense the spiritual realm. So, a dog is barking or making
yeah,
that certain sound
they,
is because it's warning the people, warning us that hey, there's something here
well,
that's from the spiritual
yeah,
realm.
they attacked. They knew it was there because, uh, and it makes me wonder even now. I've never thought of this. The fact that the wild dogs came by the building we were in and they made an immediate left, literally almost right in front of us, and they went over this railroad track and over this pile of material, and they started fighting with it. Now, I just thought just now how odd that is. And you brought something up because animals do notice supernatural things that we can't see. They can smell cancer in patients and stuff like that. The fact that that happened right in front of us, and it just so happened to be right over this hill of material, and that's where they got in a fight of it. It was, I'm starting to wonder if it said in my dream I was there because of you. It was standing there watching us, obviously, and they knew it. I've never thought of that till now. And that I'm like having a epiphany.
I,
Right?
I believe the dogs were buying you time, because the Heavenly Father does protect His children. I believe He used the dogs to try to warn you all that there was something there, and He was trying to buy you time to get out of there into safety.
Yeah, and it messed those dogs up. I think one of them ended up dying. I didn't see it, but it was really hurt, and it was sad. And I was because I'm an animal.
The dog that got hurt, how did it, I mean, how severe did it get hurt? Like, what injuries did
So
the dog have, brother?
what happened was they were fighting with it. We didn't know what they were fighting with. We could hear it. It threw a few dogs over this pile of this material. I don't know if you know in the steel making process, what Coke is.
Hmm.
It's not Coca-Cola or
Yeah.
cocaine. It's a material in the steel making process that I think helps just purify and make the fire hotter to make steel. So they got literally thrown over this material, and when the one dog hit the ground and it got up, it had from, I'd say, the front shoulder all the way down its side to almost its hip. It was like something had flaked, almost like had gone like this and cut it open. You could see its rib cage and blood everywhere. I'm pretty sure after.
You it's kind of like messed up that this unclean spirits can do that because a dog cannot defend himself spiritually. So it just
It was
uh, was able it was able to harm the dog. At least we can fight against if it's something spiritual, right? Something demonic. We could say tie bind and rebuke it in the name of Jesus Christ. But the dogs can do that.
right.
That's it's kind of messed up. That would answer a lot of things that I would experience when I was a kid. When I could hear noises of growlings of some kind of animal outside. Every morning when I would get up and wake up, this is my home back home. I would notice a like couple of cats that were hanging from the fence with their guts hanging out. They were dead, disembodied, like disemboweled,
That's
guts
sad.
hanging.
Yeah.
You know,
That,
so I can relate to what you're saying. What happened to that dog because they do have the ability to harm
well,
animals. If they can harm animals that's in the flesh, right?
yeah.
They do have the ability to also harm humans
I
in
agree.
that nature.
Well, you hear about the missing 411 with David Politis, and you hear even him say he believes that a lot of people are disappearing, that there's cryptids out there that are taking or killing and probably predating or eating people. And there's too many of it happening, and there's no sign of these people. It's not like they just blinked out of existence. So, you look at things that happen down in the LBL, Larry Joe, and you and
How you doing, brother Larry?
Martin and Daryl Denton, and Ron Moorhead went down them, and they had some experiences lately. These things are out there, and they're not. Some people say, "Oh, I'm gonna gift these Sasquatch or I'm gonna start feeding." huge mistake from what I've learned, because then they start to depend on the humans, and when the food stops, then they get angry and they do something. So I think that, yeah, I think more often than not, from what I've been hearing and the positive experience that the group of five down the LBL with Barton and Martin and Daryl and Larry Joe and Ron Moorhead, and then when they're down there, that they had a positive experience with some Bigfoot. But I think personally that the people that are disappearing the most in the LBL is either you got a Gugway that's killing and eating people, or I think there's more dogmen than people realize.
I'm going to share something. I'm going to share something with you since you're talking about this. You know, when we hear about the missing children, you know, that are missing, disappear from the face of the earth. You know, I'm going to share a story since you're talking about this. I remember it was midnight mass in the Catholic Church, and I wasn't feeling well because they spread the smoke that they spray like that, the priest, and it got to me, you know, and I was kneeling down. As I was kneeling down, you know, I felt a knot in my stomach, and I blacked out. You know, when I come to, they got me elevated in the air. They put in olive oil on my forehead, and they're praying for me, saying that an unclean spirit entered me, blah, 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 right? So I'm freaking out. I'm like, I would say at that time I was like 9 years old already. So they bring me down. So I go back and sit down inside, but I'm still feeling kind of lightheaded because I hit the back of my head. So my mother told me to go wait outside. And the church in those times in the 70s, they had the openings to the sides where you could walk to the side of the church. You know, they had little doors where you could walk
Yeah.
out. She told me to stand right there, right, and that she would keep an eye on me. So she was to go get some air. So I'm standing out there, breathing in and out, you know, getting some air, you know, and it's nighttime. It's midnight mass. And then I hear somebody yell from behind the tree. And I just see a hand waving at me, like they're calling me to go behind the tree. So I'm looking, and I look at my mom, but my mom's paying attention to the mass. And then I hear somebody say, "Hey, come here!" And they're behind the tree still, you know. And they're the tree. This big is a big tree in front of the parish hall. So I'm waiting. I'm looking, and I see somebody waving at me. So I just ignore them, you know. I look to my mom, and when I look like this, I seen something walking down the sidewalk, coming straight towards me. So as it's getting closer and closer, I'm looking, but it's not a person. It seems to be a shadow figure, but it's pretty tall, right? So it stands at the edge of the church. So I'm looking at my mother, now turning, standing there, probably like around 8 feet away from me, pretty tall, and it has no form. It's just a dark shadow. And this is what it says. It says, "Don't listen to what the man is saying in there. Don't believe what's up there, you know, which was a cross." And he says, "Believe in me. I'm your friend." And I'm looking at my mother, and he says, "Don't believe in that. Come with me. Come with me. I want to take you to where I come from. I'm your friend, you know."
And you're
He's trying to befriend me, right? And when I say, "No, I believe in Jesus Christ," then I hear somebody say, Who are you talking to?" My mom's right there beside me,
and
right?
she can hear this thing.
So when she looked to see who I was talking to, because I pointed, it wasn't in front of me no more, but my mother seen it going behind the tree.
Oh,
And she's like, "Hey," she's yelling at it. "Who are you? Why are you trying to talk to my son?" And she grabbed it from the hand, and she walks down the sidewalk. We're walking, and my hairs are standing up a little bit just by talking about it. And so my mom said, "I know you're behind the tree because I see you go behind the tree." So we go behind the tree, and guess what? There's nothing behind the tree. So we go walk around the parish hall. My mom's looking. She goes by the AC unit that's outside the parish hall. There's nothing there. She walks around the whole block. There's nothing there. So we go back to where she got me from. And the only thing she said was, "Holy Mary, Mother of God." In Spanish, it's called Ay Maria Purísima. And she did the sign of the cross
mm-hmm.
because she knew that it was something that was not real, that was demonic. But just what I want to relate to you is this: the tree, it going into the tree. You know, we hear a lot about where Bigfoots and dogmen go through trees. What if, what if a lot of these people that are missing got deceived or got tricked, whatever manifestation they took, and say, "Come with me. I want your help. Let me take you to my shelter. Let me take you to my home. Let me take you where everybody else is at." And they get deceived and they get taken, and they disappear into a different realm.
Right.
You know, Jesus Christ is right spiritually. He's gone into hell to free his people because there were some people, there were good people that got deceived in that manner. What if these people that people think have disappeared from the face of the earth, they got eaten by a Bigfoot or a dogman, or not really eaten, but they got deceived or befriended by this unseen force to trick them that it's his friend, and it's taken them into a different realm,
Hmm.
into the what we call, we won't call it the hell realm, but they're somewhere else in that nature. Now, I believe that's what he was trying to do to me, and I believe that's how many people have disappeared here on Earth, where they've been deceived by it in that nature.
You know,
But that just my opinion of what I've experienced and what I've seen, what they're capable of doing. Like just like they lured me into the woods, pretending to be a woman yelling for help. And I got surrounded by six of them at 3 in the morning. They're all looking at me. The only thing I could do was pray. Go into prayer, say the Our Father, and when I felt the presence of the heavenly angels and the heavenly Father around me, I was able to walk into safety. So for those that are not uh, have a relationship with the heavenly Father, and they know that all they have to do is seek a call upon him to assist them. No, I imagine how many people are not here because they've been deceived in that nature. Just wanted to bring that up, since we're talking about
oh
this.
no, I'm glad you did, because again, there the I already mentioned about a lot of people that are researchers, and they talk about the frequencies of things, and us matching these frequencies, and either we enter into their world, or they enter into ours. People need to understand there is like an invisible veil that keeps us separated from another paranormal dimension, or however you want to call it. And I went to see a priest after what happened to me with that dog, man. And I told him what happened, and he believed me, and I'll tell you exactly what he said to me. He said, "Matthew, people need to understand that there are things in this world that they have no idea exist. And sometimes what happens is and this is the exact way he said it. He said, sometimes they bleed into our universe, or our world. And sometimes they go back and they take us with them, or they kill us, or they just leave. And taking into account all these people that have disappeared, not only do you hear about these people disappearing and showing up like hundreds of miles away in just a day or two, or just in naked or without clothes. And um, you also hear about these stories, and these are from rangers, forest rangers, that these staircases in woods, they always tell like new people, you ever see a staircase in the woods, don't go up it. Well, what it is, you go up it and there's nothing there, or there's a door there but it leads to nowhere. That does lead to somewhere. There's a veil there. That veil is about to open, and someone walks up that staircase and they think they're just kind of looking through, and then they end up somewhere completely different. You hear about at Skinwalker Ranch all these portals that open and beings come out of them, and they even have some recordings of these, or UFOs that come through, and all kinds of stuff. And more and more of it are happening, and these things have been going on for a long, long time. And I think that we're just finding out more and more about it because of technology and social media and telephones and cameras and things like that. I think that we're really on a precipice right now. I feel like you're seeing more and more experiences happen. You're having more and more UFOs or UAPs happening, and unmanned aerial phenomena and things like that. And I think we're on the precipice of finding out all these people that just cannot believe that anything supernatural, these beings exist, are about to start finding out that
Yeah,
they do.
it's like I remember I was reading this like a newspaper, but it was through Facebook where in Chicago, in Chicago, there's a lot of killings, a lot of black on black crime and stuff like that. But they said that there was a week that they had the record of the most killings of black on black crime. And what was weird about that is that in that month that they had those killings of black on black crime, that people were witnessing shadow people,
Mm-hmm.
hellhounds, Bigfoots, and dogmen all at the same time when all these killings are happening. So just remember what I was talking about Diddy and how they can manifest to look like something
Right.
like that.
Right.
So basically what I'm saying is some of these people that committed these crimes or some people that even might have taken their own lives could have been possibly, since we know what demons can do,
Right.
what can they do, brother? What can they do?
Correct.
Possess, right? Possess people to do these acts, or imagine when we hear about Wendigoism, people that are
Mm-hmm.
in the woods. What
Yeah.
is Wendigoism? A form of a possession.
Right.
So if a person can get bonded or possessed, then something has full control of it, in which it can make him do whatever. It can make him go into a creek, fall off a ridge, get in front of a car, and which they're not here no more because their body, their vessel gets destroyed. So it's possible that some of this, imagine somebody's possessed by something and there could be a mountain lion or a cougar and what's possessing that individual goes up to the lion, and the lion or mountain lion or cougar is just a creature that feeds on flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, boom, the person is gone, or it goes up to a bear because it's being the person is being possessed,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, they're gone. The person don't know what happened to them. I believe that that there could be a big possibility what might be happening right now to individuals when they get lost into the woods. I guess they get possessed so much that, but when they come back to reality, they're out in the middle of nowhere. They don't even know how they got there because they just don't know. When a person is possessed, they don't know how they got there, and it's too late because they're in the middle of nowhere. They don't even know which way to go.
Right.
So the body can only stay alive for so long, without food and water. Uh, it happens all the time here on Fort Hood where they do the land nav course, and soldiers go out there to do their land nav course with the map, and you got to do a little bit of mathematics to know the grid of where you're at and where to go to the next point. And some people get lost and they go look for them, they can't find them. By the time they find them, they're dead because they've been out there without food or water for 3 days, 4 days, a week, and all they do is find a dead body. There's been a lot of soldiers that died that way through land nav courses here on Fort Hood area. Since I've been in this area, that's how they die, because they get lost. So there's just another thought that I'm bringing in to the table when we talk about missing people, missing children. And of course, we know that the DDN can mimic voices. They can mimic your loved ones. Imagine if somebody's calling your name and it's somebody that you lost already, and they're calling your name, and you're thinking it's a loved one that you have, and you go into the woods and you think it's a loved one or somebody that might be alive, and they're calling your name and you're like, hey, what's going on? And you're following the voice, and next thing you know, you're lost. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm just want to bring to the table, which could be a big possibility how some people could get lured into the woods or lost in the woods.
Well, you bring up a good point. You talk about guys in the military who absolutely know how to read those maps and utilize their compasses and everything, and they get lost. Or you hear stories like these haunted woods on Discovery Channel. They talk about some of these hunters who, hey, they go into the woods. They're in there for 5 minutes. They've been on a trail that they've taken their whole lives, and then the next thing they know, they're hopelessly lost for 3 hours. And then there's some kind of a cryptid or supernatural experience, and it's really crazy that stuff happens. The one woman, Patricia, I think, that's in the chat. She had mentioned she's passed out several times, and in church, and I'm not saying that this is what happened. I did just want to mention this because I've witnessed it happen. So when they light what's it called, the it causes the smoke and the sweet smell. I forget what it's called. It causes some people to go through, it's called vasoconstriction, and what happens is the blood vessels dilate or they close up, and it causes a lot of people to pass out. It happens.
It's like some kind of incense. I can't remember the name of it on top of my head.
Yes, and it causes people to pass out. Correct, Catherine Garcia. I've seen it happen numerous times through the years, and so if she's passed out in there, and it does cause people to do it. I saw a priest person. So right.
If you think about it, when they do that, brother, it's kind of like a form of them lighting up some sage. When they do that with the smoke, it's because the priest is supposed to be seeing if there's anything spiritual around, because sometimes, there's unseen forces. You can see them through the smoke, through the smoke, and it's clearing the path to make sure when you go through the church to make sure there's nothing within the church, but it's not necessarily within the church. It could be within the people, because that's what they do. They find a host that might have a spiritual opening. When what people don't understand is when people, so church is a safer place. No, church is a facility, but what do we have in church? There's some people that might be living in sin, and you got people that go to church to repent for their sins. So that person that might be there to repent for their sins might be carrying something on them. So when they're asking God for forgiveness and repenting for the sins, whatever's within them could jump to another individual that might have a spiritual opening. So that's how it transfers from person to person. Fear is another thing, a way you can transfer. It can transfer through the tear ducts, through the nostrils, through the mouth, and through the ears. And that's why it tries, when people say, where do they attach themselves around the neck area, is because that's where they want to block your senses. That's how they block your senses. There's times that I've gone to the woods, and when I come out of there, it feels like I'm carrying 2 or 3 people on me. I can barely walk. So I know I have an attachment on me. So I say, Heavenly Father, and I start praying. I say, I rebuke in Jesus' name, whatever's on me. You're not allowed to follow me home. I pray, and there's times that when I get home, it's like I'm kind of like feel my energy drained, and I can't really do nothing for about 4 or 5 days because I feel that like I went through a spiritual war. So when they block your senses, basically what I'm saying, if your senses are being blocked, then imagine what it can do if it possesses you. You won't. It'll be too late. It just they have those capabilities. That's why I always tell everybody, always maintain a love foundation. Even when I made the video yesterday, I said always maintain a love foundation. It's very important because through that love foundation, that's how we're going to be able to overcome these forces that are coming up against them. We could put it on the table. People want to think it's real, it's spiritual, it's demonic. Love foundation is going to take care of that. Is because that's what I feel, though, what I believe. I've caught it a lot of imagery on my videos and pictures. Like, people don't understand. If people will be around me to witness what I witness, what I hear, what I see, then they would understand where I'm coming from. But I just don't take anybody that's not spiritual ready out there because I don't want nothing to happen to that individual or to anybody. So when I go, it's because I prepare myself spiritually, and I wait till the Heavenly Father tells me to go somewhere. And normally when I go, it's because there's activity happening around my household, or I'm being targeted the way I'm being spiritually targeted. But when I go, it's just to show these energies, right, or whatever is coming up against me, that I'm not afraid of them, that Jesus Christ is with me. So if I'm being targeted spiritually, I go by myself. So if something's trying to come at me spiritually, then I'm able to fight against it spiritually. I don't want to endanger my loved ones or anybody else around me. So that's why I go and do the things that I do. There's times that I go out at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning with no fear because I know Jesus Christ is with me. People don't understand Jesus Christ is with us 24/7. It doesn't matter. He's always with us. He's just waiting for us to call upon him. It's like some people forget when they see something that's scary or something that's unbelievable. They forget to call upon Jesus Christ. Because if they were to call upon Jesus Christ to help them, then they will notice what's there is going to flee real quick when you call upon Jesus Christ. I've, I've, I've witnessed that time and time again. But I know there's people within the crypto community, brother, that don't want to believe that. But the more stories are being said of what I hear through the spiritual cryptic community or the cryptic community is when they say that they have other gifts that they can do this, they can do that, you know, in which they can be in a realm and disappear to a different realm, or be in this dimension and go to a second dimension, third dimension, fourth dimension. This is letting me know that what we're dealing with is something that's in spirit form. You know, and the only way to be able to overcome it, like I said, is through Jesus Christ. You know, and that's what I do. So many videos that I've done when I have to go into prayer, and one of them, brother, I find a truck. In one of my videos, I find a truck in the woods, brother Matt. So I'm out there in the woods making a video. I got a piece of selenite because the Heavenly Father tells me to go to this area. I go to this area, and right off the bat, my transmission breaks up, but all kinds of interference, you know. And I was like, I'll start the video back up, and I'll tell the people that are viewing what happened. And I said, you know what? I had what, and I'm sensing my senses are going crazy. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go in here with no fear because Jesus Christ is with me. So I go in there with no fear. I have this piece of selenite with me. And as I'm doing the video, I find a truck in the wood that's stuck in the middle of the woods, stuck out there, you know. So I go up to this truck. It's a green truck. And I'm going to the truck, and I see there's a wallet in the truck. There's a phone in the truck and keys in the ignition of the
That's all.
truck. So I'm yelling to see if anybody's there that, you know, that's there, and nobody's responding.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm yelling, I go and I find another area where there's like a shelter, and there's like a tarp, and it seems like there's something underneath the tarp. So I don't touch nothing, but my senses go crazy again, you know, like there's something there spiritually. So the viewers that are viewing, they're like, get out of there, get out of there. There's something there, get out of there, you know. So I just follow my spiritual instincts to start praying, and I pray all the way as I leave where I came through. So I go to the parking lot, I call the police, the local police, and I say, hey, I found a truck. So I'm here at this location. I'll wait for you. I waited like 2.5 hours and never showed up. So I had left the Malumber. I went home. I'm sitting at home, and they called me like around 7 o'clock. They're like, hey, where's this truck that you're talking about? Can you give us a coordinates to this truck? And I told them where to go, how to get there. So Monday comes along in the news. There's a headline that there was a person that was missing for about 2.5 months. That the truck was found and that their body was
Uh,
found. Right. So it's like I
that's
went to the
terrible.
police. I went to the police station and I said, "Do you need the video of when I contacted you?" Because I'm the one. They never said that a person found it. They just took the credit for
Oh,
it, right? So I said, "Do you need my video? Because I think you can use it as submit it as evidence, right?" So I gave them a copy of the video, and you could hear an investigator or somebody say we should arrest them for tampering with evidence. You know, and I'm the one. It wasn't for me that they would have never found this individual. I didn't know that there was an individual missing for 2.5 months. This guy was missing for 2.5 months.
just,
You know,
how are you tampering with evidence?
I don't know. That's what he said. So that was kind of suspicious to me. It's like, well,
Eh,
maybe it's
weird.
more than what they're saying
Yeah.
because to this day, brother Matt, I never found out how this person died.
Hmm.
I mean, if a person would have taken his life right through suicide, how would he be how would he be covered by a tarp,
Yeah,
right?
I agree. You know, Larry
So
Jones.
so to this day, they never said how this individual died. I got the picture of him here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on where we're making this video, and you know, and I have the video on here or in Spiritual Encryptors where I located the truck. But I believe the Heavenly Father placed me there so this guy can be found, so they can bury him, put him in holy
I
ground. You
I
see,
I agree with you.
so So I'm glad that he was found, that he was able to be placed in holy ground to rest.
Yeah.
You know,
You gave closure to
uh,
the family.
yeah. But I never got to speak to the family of how I located them or nothing like that. The cops never mentioned my name once, in which if it wasn't for me, he probably would have been still missing, But luckily, I was able to help out. You know,
You know, Larry
that that's all
Fisher is
that's all God places me, places me, and I have the proof, brother, to back that story up here with Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Maybe one day I'll place this picture of when he was missing.
yeah.
Maybe I could place a picture when he was found, and I could place a video of when I located him. But spiritually, the Heavenly Father guided me to him, and I had a piece of selenite with me. It was like a selenite sword. I'll show it to you. I got it. I got it right here. Let me get it so I can show
Yeah.
you, so people can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Since Abe's leaving, quick, you know, other Larry Joe Fisher talking about extortion on the video. So Larry Joe, this is the video that Abe made. So there's extortion on his original video. Is that what you're saying? Hear me?
Well,
Oh, okay. Larry Joe was saying actually that he saw your video and he said there's distortion on it. What?
well, brother, check it out, brother. This what happened as I was picking up the selenite sword. Something hit it. Something hit it, and it broke in half. Look,
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know if, I don't know if you heard that noise, like something fall, something. It got hit out of my hand, like as I wasn't supposed to share. This was my selenite sword, so I don't know if I can even fix it, but it's broken in half. I had this sword in my
That
hand.
hard to break?
Oh, it's selenite.
Is
It
that a
broke.
very, it's hard?
It got, yeah, it's pretty hard.
Uh-huh.
It like literally got hit when I picked it up. It got hit off my hand
Wow.
and it got
So do
broken.
you
This
think
what I had.
distortion was like something supernatural, like a ghost or a,
Well, it's demonic. In order for someone to die in that nature, it's got to be a force. And that day, I felt I was surrounded by them.
mm-hmm.
Uh, that made the presence known to me.
Right.
But I didn't fear because I started praying the heavenly the deliverance prayer
No,
to our Father. But
broke when
there's my sword. It's a broken sword now. But that's okay.
it was that.
It's not about the sword. It's about the selenite. I had this. It's selenite. It protects. So I was able to enter that area with this in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and the selenite was protecting me. The reason
Right.
I took the selenite, if there was something that was going to attack me spiritually or try to drain my energy, well, this is a selenite conducts energy. You ever hear about those boxes that people have sometimes that supposedly there's a spirit trapped in the
Yeah.
box?
Yeah.
Well, they'll put selenite in it because it stores energy.
Oh,
So when they're hitting it with that energy thing, boy, it's sensing the selenite in it.
okay.
So it's really not really a spirit in the box. It's actually sensing the energy of the selenite.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
hey, can I ask you? I want to ask you one more question before I
yes, brother.
go. I'm always really interested in men that or women that were in the military, and could you tell me and everybody here what's the craziest supernatural related type event that ever happened to you in the military? Is there one?
Yeah, there's many that I went through, but
What's
the
the one
one
your attention the most that you would say is the craziest?
since we've been talking about, you asked me the question about the DDN, right? The craziest event that happened while I was in the military was when I was fighting in the Battle of Medina Ridge in the front line.
Mm-hmm.
There was already activity happening where people within the military that were coming up against me, that these unclean spirits was using them to try to take me out. So it's kind of like I really didn't get that much sleep while I was out there because they were trying to take me out,
Mm-hmm.
literally trying to take me out. Like, for example, give you an example of that. Quick story. I didn't trust nobody. I was told, hey, we got a tent, and it goes like below zero over there in the desert at night. The heater is on. Go sleep in the tent. I want to go sleep in the tent, but my spiritual instinct told me, don't trust them. So I put the sleeping bag, fill up the sleeping bag with dirty clothes, and I put the shelter half because you got to half a shelter, and then somebody, your bunk buddy, gets another half shelter. We built a little tent, so I laid it over the cot where it hung from the sides. So I'm sleeping underneath the cot, even though there's scorpions and vipers out there.
Mm.
I'm underneath the cot asleep. Next thing you know, I hear somebody running inside this tent, and I hear, and I'm seeing something hitting the cot, right? So then I see the people that invited me, the ones that doing it because I lifted, and I'm seeing them running out of the tent. So in the morning, there. I am talking to my company commander that somebody, try to kill me. Like my sleeping bag is full of holes. My cot is full of holes. They used bayonets that you could put on the.
Yeah,
We carried a
those
bayonet
are
on us.
long, man. Those are long.
So yeah, that's what they used to try to take me on. That was my own people, right? So that happened, and I talked to the company commander. The company commander wanted to confiscate my weapon because these people were lying. They're saying that I was a dangerous person, but they're trying to kill me. So it turned out to be like company commander said, we're in a combat environment. I have the right to kill you if you disobey a lawful order. Give me your weapon now. So, okay, sir. I took my weapon, I locked and loaded, and I pointed at him. I said, well, I showed you the evidence of what they tried to do, and you taking their side. And I pointed right at his head. I just want to know one thing: who's going to be the first one to die? Because he's already telling me if I don't, he gave me a direct. If I don't listen to the director, he's going to kill me. So I was placed in a situation with my back against it, which I had to take matters into my own hands. I'm showing him the truth, what happened. So he became my enemy, and I'm pointing it at his head. He's a company commander, and he looks at them and he says, "Just leave him the fuck alone." And he turns around and walks away from me, and I'm still pointing my gun just in case anybody try to do anything. But they left me alone. That's one of the things that happened. Now, spiritually, was in the Battle of Medina Ridge. I'm out there fighting in the front lines. We already destroyed a lot of tanks from 3,000 meters away, and we're getting closer and closer. We're up to like 500, 400 meters away from the enemy. There's people coming out of the ground through underground bunkers, and some are popping right in front of my tank, and I'm running them over because, I'm just supposed to go forward. We're in the offense. We're moving forward, so people are dying. I'm running over underground bunkers with like 10, 20 people in there, and the weight of 65 tons lands on that bunker. There's dead people. Yeah. So as we're getting closer, like maybe I would say between 200 meters to where more enemy is, I witnessed something. I witnessed people with white flags. They have white flags. So they have white flags, which means surrender.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to surrender. And there's smoke from the burning tanks and everything. And I witnessed something in the air, floating in the air, which in that country, they probably call it the gen,
Yeah.
the gen.
I know what they are.
It's floating in the air. And I see it, he sees me. Before that happens, and I've shared this. Well, no, I'll share that one. The guy that's holding the white flag, he goes flying in the air, goes right in him. The guy that's holding the white flag of surrender drops a flag because the gen, or we could say maybe, possibly, could be the same, disembodied demonic Nephilim possesses an individual, drops a white flag, stands up, picks up a weapon on the ground, and points. When he points, the person is gone. Then he jumps out of the person and goes to the next person, onto the next person, onto the next person.
What did it look like to you?
There were some the gen, it was like in a smoke spirit form floating in the air. Well, the one that came out of the ground was the one that stood out the most to me. It came out slithering like a snake. When people talk about reptilians.
Mm-hmm.
That one came out of the snake, like slithering out of the ground like a snake, and it was a soldier from the Medina Republican Guard. And this individual literally
You.
jumped this jumped. Listen to me, 10 to 15 feet, and landed on my front
Oh.
slope. And when it's looking at me, this is what I witnessed, brother. It's got this person possessed. The the eyes were like yellowish, like the color like of a tiger, or a yellowish, like a yellowish color.
Mm-hmm.
And it's looking at me and he's smiling at me. And he's got an AK-47 in his hand. He literally jumped 10 or 15. It was just straight up from the ground, leaped. Without running, leaped 10 to 15 feet and landed on my front slope. So it's got an AK-47 in his hand, and it's looking at my crew. And my crew couldn't see him because of the smoke from all the burning tanks. Smoke rises. I could see because
Yeah.
I was the driver. So as he was fixing a point at my crew, I had a personal weapon, which is 9 mil. I opened up my hatch, and when he looked down, he still had that smile with the glowish red eyes. No, I did what I had to do. One bullet, one shot, one kill,
Mm-hmm.
and it fell. But I knew then that war that I fought, it was more of a spiritual war than a real war. The reason I say spiritual is because I seen these individuals who were possessed. I prayed before we went into combat. They said when you pray and you place Jesus Christ first, whoever plays on the first will win the battle. Well, we won. It was the the battle was the biggest tech battle out there, but it was the quickest war in history. But that's because we placed Jesus Christ first. We prayed before we went into battle. I
Mm-hmm.
was in the front line, but that was the craziest thing that I've seen, besides other things that I witnessed, but spiritual wise was the degen that I witnessed, what he can do, in which the capabilities of the degen, it's the same thing as the capabilities of the DDN. They can shapeshift, they can possess, they can mimic voices, and they have that ability to do those things
Mm-hmm.
to enter people that have spiritual openings. I think the opening that the soldiers might have had was you hear the rumbling and you see a lot of tanks coming your way, and bullets are flying, rounds are flying. Well, fear was the opening that they got possessed. But that was the craziest thing that I seen in the front lines in combat was that.
That's that is.
And I'm sharing it here with y'all. I know I've talked about it numerous times, but I'm sharing it with y'all.
Thank you.
That's when I knew. That's when I knew that I even did the sign of the cross and everything, because I knew that we were facing something that was, when people try to give the enemy power because of Lucifer and all, they just don't understand that through Jesus Christ we can overcome
Yeah.
them. And I was praying in my tank when I witnessed that. But at the same time, I had to do what I had to do to protect my crew.
Did you think that your commanding officer was possessed?
I'm not going to say he was possessed, but I'm more sure, since we're in a combat environment, that he was worried about them trying to do something to him if he didn't respond to their, how should I say, what they wanted, because our our company was, the majority was African American. So there was only a couple of white guys and a couple of Hispanic guys. I think I was like two Hispanics and two Puerto Ricans. So, but the majority was black. So, he didn't want to get overrun by them.
Okay.
So he had to do what he had to do. But at the same time, I had to do what I had to
I
do.
would have.
I haven't spoken to him all these years. I just say it how it happened. But as far as I know, his career he continued. He became, I don't know if he made it all the way to general or not. I don't think he did. I think he just made it to lieutenant colonel. But his dad was a general at one point in time. But I don't think he made it all the way. I met an individual that was up there in rank, and he said he never made it up there, that he knew him. So
That's wild. You know, I wanna say thank you for having me on tonight. Hey, it was an honor, sir. And I want to thank everybody that was here, Larry, Joe, and I think Patricia was her name, and anybody else that watched that. I think a lot of you, sir. I can't thank you enough for your service, and I had a good time with you.
Yeah, brother, I enjoyed your stories and be able to open up the people spiritually to understand that there is other forces working behind the scenes. You know, when you talk about lifting of the veil, there is other forces that are around
Yeah,
just waiting for the right time to strike. You know, and I believe that's what we're facing. And I want to thank you, brother, Matt, for taking some time. You know, just it was just like out of the spur moment, but sometimes when it's out of the spur moment, that's the best time to do one because
you're wel-
you just talk.
you're welcome. It was an honor, sir.
Thank you all for whoever's reviewing for tuning in, and again, I want to thank Brother Matt for
But
being here tonight, and I hope you all enjoyed. Is there anything you would like to share before we go, brother, to the audience that's going to view here in Spiritual Encryptors on Facebook and on YouTube?
you know, the only thing I could say is, like I had talked about earlier, is something that I'm very proud of, and I know that when I meet my maker someday, I know that I'm a good person. I know that I'm a truthful human being, and nothing that I have said on YouTube or anything is been a lie. And I just feel like if people would just try and treat others the way that they would like to be treated. We don't have to like talk about, you know, someday, you know, when God comes and takes us, or some you know, aliens or something come and they help us to find peace. We could do it ourselves. We could do it ourselves. Just try to be kinder to the humans. You know, treat people the way you want to be treated, and we'll all get along better. And I think it's just simple. It's just, you know, show a little love to people. If you see somebody on the street that we're pretty smart. You know, if you see somebody that looks like they're having a bad day, I know you, even if you don't know them, just walk by and say, hi, how you doing? And then just walk away. That could mean so much to somebody you don't know. I mean, it's just, it's, yeah, Catherine, it's just simple.
That's very true. What uh, brother Matt is saying is Montana Love Foundation, basically, you know, and try to treat others like you won't want to be treated, you know. And I believe you. I know you were trying to help me yesterday. Just I had so much on me that I just had a vent. But today I feel a lot
Good.
better, and I'm very happy, brother. And whenever you want to have me on your show and speak on whatever you want
I
to
will.
speak, let me know, brother. Whenever I'm looking forward for you to have that podcast. And I know you have other things that you do, you know, that people might not know that you do things, but I know you. I'm just waiting for you to do your
Thank you.
podcast, and
It's
you want to
coming.
have me on the. We can talk about whatever you want, you know, whether it be me dealing with the military or me dealing with the spiritual things aside of what I've witnessed throughout my life.
I for sure will.
I'm ready, just like you. Help me here today. You know, this is what I've been trying to do for a long time. Get people to come on right here on the group itself to share the story. The reason I said the group itself is because in some places there's public and then the trolls will come, and I don't need that kind of negativity in this group. If you notice, brother, all the comments that are being sent here tonight is nothing but positive
I agree.
because it's real people, brother.
I agree. And
But thank you again, brother Matt. I mean, I really appreciate it,
for sure.
taking time for yourself, and I will continue. I will keep you in prayer. You want to say a little prayer? Would you like to lead the prayer,
Uh,
brother? Or would you like
I
me to? Is there anything you would like to pray for right now?
You know, all I'd like to pray for is just that, you know, I've gotten extremely close to this cryptid community. I really have. What I want to pray for is just that all of these petty um, squabbles that are going on, I just wish that everyone would just say, you know what, enough's enough. Let's just do what we're here for, and let's just squash it and everybody get along, and let's just all do what we want to do. I'm missing everybody focusing on what this subject's about. Let's just stop sweating each other, because you know what? There is an interview out there, not an interview. way back in the 80s when Ronald Reagan was saying goodbye to his presidency, he spoke in front of the United Nations. And he said something so powerful and so earth-shaking. People don't talk about it to this day. He spoke to, and people, you can look this up. He said, you know, how petty things are and how amazing it would be that if we would find out if the earth was attacked by an outside force or aliens. I don't remember exactly how he put it, how fast the human race would put aside our petty squabbles and we would all come together. And then he said something like, or is there already not an alien presence on this earth? And no one ever made a big deal about that. Watch it, guys. It's on YouTube. You know, you can put that in the search specifically. He said it. And I think they specifically hid that and didn't make a big deal for a reason. He was trying to tell us something. And I agreed with him. You know, I think that there are things here, and they've been here for a while, but I agree with what the point he's making. You know, we are all human beings. We all would pull together if something like that happens. So why do we need to wait for it? Let's just start now. We have children that we all love. We have friends and family that are younger that we are going to be leaving this earth to someday. Let's leave it in good hands in a good way instead of people killing each other and hating each other. There you go.
That's very true, brother.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, brother. I just want to say a little prayer before we go.
Yeah.
Heavenly Father, at this time, I'd like to pray for everybody viewing this video, that viewed this video, that we're trying to send a positive message. I want to pray, and I want to place spiritual heavenly crosses in everybody's household and their personal foundation from head to toe. I want to pray, Heavenly Father, if there's anybody that's going through something spiritually or being bonded by anything negative, I would like to bind, rebuke any negative energies that anybody might have that might be causing any sickness or illness. We bind, and rebuke you through Jesus Christ's name. You're not welcome in our foundations, in our vessels. You're not welcome in our households. Leave. This I pray in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Matt. I hope you all enjoyed this. You know, with Brother Matt, I think he did great. He's pretty awesome fella. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Brother Matt. And after I finish this, I will place it on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on YouTube.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Peace out.